Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. It is so cloudy here in Rhode Island today, and I decided that I would brighten up my day by putting on some nice red lipstick and hopping on here and talking about the victim mentality, vulnerability, learned helplessness, and learned optimism. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Clarissa Rodriguez. I am a part-time tele-nurse. And when I was in college, originally I went to college to become a OBGYN. And I failed out of the pre-med major and was told by my advisor that I would never make it in the medical field and I should just become a teacher. So I spent an entire summer learning how to learning the skills I needed to learn to be able to go on and pursue my dream of delivering babies, because ultimately that's what I wanted to do. And in 2014, I ended up graduating nursing school with honors, and now I work on a tele floor and just got a position as a labor and delivery nurse. So hopefully I'll be starting that within the next couple of weeks. I'm waiting for everything to go through with HR, but I wanted to talk to you all about the victim mentality as a college student. So for those of you who are here live with me, how many of you have heard of the concept of learned helplessness or the victim mentality? A lot of you probably have taken psych courses, so you're probably familiar, but do any of you know anything about learned helplessness? And if so, go ahead and comment below. Again, while you guys do that, I'm going to go on my computer and hop into Facebook because it's always hard to see the comments on my computer. Oh, sorry, on my phone. Any of you have any of you heard of the concept of learned helplessness? I don't see any comments, so I'm assuming no, and that's okay. So if you've never taken a psychology course, then you probably never heard of the psychologist Martin Seligman, I believe is how you pronounce it. Well, he did an experiment with dogs, okay? I'm going to tell you kind of how he stumbled upon this concept of learned helplessness. He did an experiment with dogs. So he built these two boxes, and inside of these two boxes, he placed dogs. And no matter where in the box the dogs were, they would get shocked. Now, in one of the boxes, the dog that was in the box had the opportunity to escape, okay? He could jump over a partition and escape the shocks. In the other box, the dog that was in this box, so we have box A, where the dog was shocked but had the ability to jump over a partition to avoid the shocks. And then in box B, this dog, no matter what he did, he would always get shocked. So over time, the dog in box A figured out, hey, if I jump over here, I'm not going to get shocked. So before he got shocked, he always jumped over the partition to avoid the shocks. Now the dog in box B eventually would just lay down and take the shocks, because he realized that no matter what he did, he was going to get shocked. So instead of fighting, instead of trying to scramble around, barking and doing whatever, he just learned to lay his body down and take the hits. Now, in a second part to this experiment, these same dogs were placed in completely different boxes where they both had the opportunity to escape the shocks. Now, the dog that was in box A figured out very quickly that he could escape the shock similarly to the other box that he was in. But the dog in box B, even though in this new box he could escape, he would just lay down and take the shocks. Even though in this new environment, he had the opportunity to avoid that pain. But what he learned was the term learned helplessness. And what learned helplessness is, I'm going to read the exact definition. It's the idea or the perception that you have no control over the outcome of the situation that you're currently in. You literally learn to just take the hits. Because no matter what you do, no matter what you try, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change the situation. Now, the thing that I want you to understand is that this is a perception, okay? And the example of the dogs is a perfect example of how this is just a perception, because even when the dogs were placed in a box where they could both escape, that one dog who believed in his mind that no matter what he did, he was still going to get shocked, could not find a way out. Even though there was a way out, he didn't even try, because his belief system, okay, based off of his experiences in the past, his belief system was that no matter what I do, I'm gonna get shocked. So why bother trying? Why bother escaping, right? And so learned helplessness, okay, if if that term is a little bit too big for you, if that term's a little bit too difficult for you to understand, it is the same thing as having a victim mentality. Now, I want to say something here, because I'm going to be talking about some things and I don't want you guys to think something other than what it is that I'm trying to explain here. I'm not talking about victims in the sense of, being victimized sexually, being victimized by an abuser. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the perception of being victimized, because absolutely there are people out there who are being victimized, who literally are a victim of sexual abuse or physical abuse, okay? And that's not what I'm talking about here. I am talking about the perceived notion that you are a victim based off of your thought system. Now, if you've been watching the videos that I've been doing in the simplenursing.com Facebook group, I've covered the concept before that everything that we do is because we want to seek pleasure or seek good feelings or avoid negative feelings. So we're either trying to go towards positive feelings or avoid negative feelings. And this all derives from our evolution, okay? When we were in the hunter-gatherer phase, it was all about life or death. Everything we did was to avoid death and to keep on living. When our society became a society that was more safe, where we're not constantly battling for our life, right? We internalized the idea of life and death. And it's more now about a feeling that we're going to die or that something bad is going to happen to us, okay? So it's more of a feeling now. So everything that we do is to avoid bad feelings or to seek out good feelings, okay? Now just keep that in mind, okay? Because what we feel has 100% to do with what we think, okay? Our thoughts create our feelings. And based on how we feel, we act a certain way. And the way we act is to try to suppress the negative feelings or try to seek out a more positive feeling. And you know that actions are what create your results, okay? So based on what you're thinking, you're causing yourself to feel a certain way. And that feeling causes you to act a certain way. And that action produces a result in your life, okay? So stay with me here, because we're gonna come back to the concept of the victim mentality. Now, most of us will not come out and openly say, yes, I am a victim, okay? And again, I'm not talking about victims in terms of physical and sexual abuse. I am talking about the perception of being a victim, okay? So most of us will not come out and say, hey, I'm a victim, right? Because most of us are not aware that what we are doing is placing ourselves in a victim mentality, okay? Now, if you're hearing me talk about this right now and you're in any way, shape, or form starting to get on the defense, starting to feel like, excuse me, girl, like, what is it that you're talking about? You don't know my situation. You don't know what it is that I'm going through. I absolutely am being victimized, etc., etc. That is a warning sign that you are probably in the victim mindset, because one of the symptoms of being in the victim mindset is going on the defense. It's actually the first act of war, right? The first act of trying to defend yourself is defensiveness, right? So if you're starting to feel like I'm attacking you right now, it could be because you're in the victim mentality. And I'm not trying to harm you in any way. You know, I don't know any of you personally, so how could I personally be trying to hurt you, right? So, okay. So that's what I want to say about that, okay? So one of the first ways that this victim mentality presents itself is through blame, okay? It's through blame and it's through complaining, okay? If you find yourself constantly blaming people or constantly complaining about something, let that be a warning sign to you that you could possibly be in the victim mentality. And again, remember that I said that I associated the victim mentality to learned helplessness, or the idea or perception that you have no control over the situation, okay? It's a perception that you have no control over the situation. And so you start to blame people or things or situations, right? Or circumstances. You start to complain about what you're going through, okay? So let's talk about this in regards to students, okay? And I'm going to use my own personal story as an example. So at the beginning of this, I said that when I first went to college, so I'm 28, okay? Nursing is my second degree. When I first went to college, I knew from the age of 8 that I wanted to be in the medical field and that I wanted to be in women's health. So I went off to college to go on to medical school. I was a pre-med major freshman year all the way towards the end of junior year of college. And I had failed, guys, I think it was over 7 classes. Like I failed 2 chemistry classes, 1 calculus class. I failed the second part of physics. I failed in 2 other classes, which I can't remember. And if you want proof, I'll pull out my transcript because I'm not ashamed of that. And I had failed so many classes, and I went to go meet with my advisor. It was junior year, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I have to start thinking about medical school and like all of that kind of stuff. And she sat me down in her office, and she looked me straight in the eye, and she said to me, "You don't have what it takes. You failed over 5 classes here, classes that are needed for you to get into the medical field. You don't have the brains. You don't have the capacity to go on to medical school or be in the medical field if I'm being frank with you. And I think that you should pursue another path. I think that you should maybe consider becoming a teacher." Guys, at that time, okay, I was absolutely completely devastated with what she had said to me. And I was hurt, and I went through a period of like really, like I just felt really down about myself because at some deep level, okay, I believed her. I believed what it was that she was saying to me. I absolutely believed that I was not smart enough, that I was not worthy enough, that I was not capable enough of being in the medical field. And what I did was go into the victim mentality, and I started blaming everything around me. I first started with my mom because she pushed me to go to this private college where you can count the number of minority students in it. And I started saying, if only my parents got a college education, maybe I wouldn't be in this situation. If only they cared enough about putting me in the right schools that would prepare you for college, I wouldn't be struggling as hard as I did. If only I would have gone to the schools that gave me full scholarships. If only I would have applied myself more. If only the professors in this college focused on us minority students who didn't have the privilege to go to prep school. If only I had been born rich. If only I had gone to a private high school, then my situation would be different. And I started to blame everything around me, literally everything, because I didn't like how she was making me feel. I didn't like how her words made me feel like I was unworthy. And I didn't like the way that sat with me, and I didn't want to feel those feelings. So instead of sitting with those emotions, I literally projected them on other people. I literally wanted to take what it was that I was feeling and dump it on my mom, and dump it on my dad, and dump it on this stupid private college that I went to that doesn't help its students, right? And that's the way that I would talk. And be honest with yourself. How many of you right now are saying to yourself, my school doesn't help us? The professors don't tell us what is going to be on the exam. They don't provide study sessions. They don't help students that are struggling. My husband doesn't help me, so I don't have enough time to study. Or I have 5 kids, so this is not possible for me. And you put yourself in this victim mentality where you are literally giving away control. You're giving away your power as a person. And when you give away control and when you give away power, there is no way that you can get better, because your success is dependent on someone else. Okay? And remember that I said that I did not like the way my advisor was making me feel. It had nothing to do with her and everything to do with me, because it was my thought system, what I believed about myself, what I thought about myself that was causing my feelings. Because let me give you this example, okay? Can you guys in the comments below tell me what color my hair is? Can you guys in the comment below tell me what color my hair is? If you can see it, I'll like bend over so you guys can see it. I have like one gray hair right here, but don't count that. Just overall, what color is my hair? Okay, Thelma says black. Yep, it's like a dark black. Okay. Now, let's say that Thelma came up to me and she said to me, I don't like your blue hair. I think it's stupid. Now, we're all looking at my brown hair, right? I don't have blue hair, but Thelma just told me she did not like my blue hair. She thought it was stupid. Am I going to be offended by that? No, because I know I don't have blue hair. I don't believe the fact that I have blue hair. Okay? I don't believe what it is that she's saying, so I'm not going to be hurt by it. However, and I'm not going to feel attacked by it. However, if I believed that I had blue hair and Thelma told me that she did not like my blue hair and she thought it was stupid, if I'm in the victim mentality, I would feel bad about that. I would feel like she's attacking me, and I would automatically think like, oh, like, why is she saying that? That's really rude of her. Why wouldn't she just keep that to herself? And what does my blue hair have anything to do with her, right? And here's what you need to understand, that underneath it all, whenever we feel attacked, okay, whenever we feel like someone is hurting us, or whenever we feel like we're in a situation that is somehow harming us, at the bottom of it is some thought or belief system that we're feeding into. Now, in the case of Thelma not liking my blue hair, it's not that Thelma doesn't like my blue hair that's bothering me. It's what I'm thinking about Thelma not liking my blue hair and how that's making me feel. It's my thoughts about her not liking my blue hair that's really causing me to feel like I'm being attacked. Because in my mind, what I'm hearing is not that Thelma does not like my blue hair. What I'm hearing is that I am not pretty enough. What I'm hearing is that my blue hair isn't cool enough. What I'm hearing is that Thelma doesn't like me, when she never said that, right? But that's my belief system, and those are the thoughts that are making me feel attacked. But that's not necessarily what's happening. And really, her not liking my blue hair is more about her than it is about me. But because I'm making it about me, because I'm making it about the fact that now I am not pretty enough or whatever enough, right? Now I'm feeling sorry for myself, and now I'm putting myself in the victim mentality, in the victim mode, and I'm giving my happiness over to Thelma. I have now given control over to Thelma. And that is, and Thelma, sorry that I used you as an example. I appreciate you letting me use you as an example. I don't believe that you don't really like my blue hair because I don't have blue hair, but I just needed to to give an example. So learned helplessness and the victim mentality, okay? It's not a weakness because we all go through it, but it is, guys, it is a way of handing over control. And when you hand over control, you hand over your power. And when you give your power to someone else, you cannot succeed. So what do we do, right? Someone in here had asked, who was it? Someone in here asked, so what do I do? What do I do when I'm in the victim mode? What do I do? Well, the first thing that you have to do is you have to separate your emotions from what's actually happening, okay? And you have to become aware of your thinking and your thoughts because, like I said, you're feeling attacked, okay? You're feeling attacked because of your perception, right? It's a perceived attack. It's not true. Most of the time, people aren't doing things at you. You're perceiving that they're doing things at you because of what you're thinking, okay? And so you have to become aware of the thoughts that are causing you to feel that way, okay? Now, in the case of my situation with my advisor, the thoughts that were making me believe what she was saying and making me feel like she was somehow purposely hurting me and trying to like destroy my life as a future doctor was because deep down I believed and I thought that I wasn't smart enough. And I thought that I didn't have the intelligence level that quote unquote doctors needed to have in order to get into medical school. Because deep down, I believed that I wasn't good enough and smart enough. And it was that belief system in myself that made me feel hurt, okay? It wasn't what the professor said. It was what I was thinking. So the first step to getting out of this victim mode is understanding that it's by taking back your power, by taking back responsibility, okay? You have to take back responsibility by becoming aware of your thoughts, okay? Because it's never what that other person is saying, doing, acting like, etc. It's about what you're thinking about the way they're acting, what you're thinking about what they're saying, what you're thinking about what you're doing. That, Santana, that's just... You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I am not smart enough and I should stop talking. But that's your perception. So it's what you're thinking about what that person is saying. And the reason why I'm able to let what Santana said go is because I don't believe what he's saying. I do believe that I'm smart enough. I'm here. I graduated nursing school with honors. I was able to pass. So that to me shows me that I am smart enough and I am capable enough. So it's always about what you're thinking that's causing your feelings. So you have to become aware of that, okay? So someone had mentioned in here that said that, Melissa said, how do we as students deal with bullying nurses during clinicals? The first thing is my understanding is that they're not doing it to you. There is something that's going on in their life, something that they're feeling that that's making them act the way that they're acting. It has nothing to do with you. So what you have to ask yourself is, what am I thinking about how they're acting towards me? What is your underlying belief system? What are the thoughts that you're having about the way that they're acting towards you? And Melissa, if you feel comfortable, go ahead and I'll do like a coaching with you right now on this if you want. Go down below, comment what it is that you're thinking about the way these nurses are acting towards you in clinicals. If you're still here, Melissa. So while she's typing it in, if she feels comfortable doing that, it's about your thoughts. Your thoughts create your feelings. And I'm going to keep saying this over and over because it is 100% true. Your thoughts create your feelings. And so as a student, you need to become aware of when you're in the victim mentality. Oh, Thelma, I'm so glad that you're loving it. When you're in the victim mentality, okay, remember that every single time you put yourself in the victim mentality, you're handing over your power. You're handing over your power and your success to someone else because you're not willing to take a look at what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're thinking and choosing to believe that's causing you this internal pain. So Melissa said that, okay, so Melissa, thank you, first of all, for being so vulnerable and sharing your experience in clinicals with us. It takes a lot of courage to say that and a lot of courage for you to share your feelings with us, so I appreciate that. So Melissa asked a question, what she should do if in her clinical settings, she feels like her preceptors or clinical instructors are bullying her. And so I asked her what she's thinking when she's perceiving that they're bullying her. And she said, I think that I am incompetent if I'm asking questions. So Melissa, when you think that you're incompetent, how does that make you feel? So when these professors are making you feel like maybe you're asking too many questions and you're thinking in your head, this nurse probably thinks I'm incompetent. How are you feeling in that moment? I'm going to give her a second to respond, guys. Melissa, when you can, let us know what you're feeling when you're thinking about yourself that you're incompetent. Her perception, okay, so let's break this down. So Melissa, perfect. So Melissa said, I don't think I'm incompetent. They make me feel like I am. I get extremely discouraged. So the feeling that she's having is a feeling of incompetence and a feeling of discouragement. Now, Melissa, what is it that your professors are doing that's making you feel that way? I want you to describe what they're doing when they're bullying you. I'm waiting for Melissa to respond. She wants to feel comfortable with her task, but something that her professors are doing to her is causing her to feel discouraged. And we're going to help Melissa change her thought system around this because there's nothing wrong with asking questions. But it's her thought about asking questions that's causing her to feel incompetent and discouraged. Okay. So she says it's not the professors, it's the staff nurses. They say they don't have time to babysit us. Okay. So let's break this down and separate reality from emotions. The facts are what? That the nurses that are taking you under their wing, they are indeed on the job. And they probably don't have time to babysit you guys. That's the reality of it. They probably don't have time to babysit you. But what are you making that fact mean? You're making it mean more than it is. The reality is that they don't have time to babysit you because they're trying to get through their day so that they can go home and be with their families and continue on with their lives. Do you see how it has nothing to do with you? You're making it mean more than it is because of what you're thinking, okay? So I say to you, Melissa, I don't have time to babysit you because I have 6 patients that I need to take care of. I can't take 2 seconds to explain to you how to hang up this IV because I have a patient whose heparin I need to go change in 2 seconds, and I have to go check on my patient whose blood is running. Those are the facts. That's what's actually happening around me right now. That's actually happening around me right now. I have to go do all those things. But what are you making it mean? You're making it mean, right? Because your thoughts are probably, I'm a burden. I'm in the way. This is what you're thinking. I'm a burden. I'm in the way. I'm effing up. I'm causing these nurses to mess up. Because I can't do things as fast, or because she has to explain things to me, I'm not smart enough. Or because I want to ask her questions, but I can't because she doesn't have time, I'm incompetent. So these thoughts, right, these thoughts of you being in the way, a burden, is causing you to feel incompetent. It's causing you to feel discouraged. But that's not true, is it? You're not incompetent. You are in nursing school. Okay, the fact that you're in nursing school says a lot. Melissa, I understand that there were students at some point. I get that. Absolutely get that. My hospital is also a teaching hospital, and we have students coming in all the time. But what I'm trying to help you understand here is that it's not about you, right? You don't have to internalize the fact that they don't have time. And you can't change the way that they're thinking. And you can't change the way that you act. The way that they act. The only thing that you have control over is your thoughts, your belief systems, and your feelings. Every single time you allow the way that they are acting, what they are saying, to dictate what you think about yourself, you're handing over your happiness as a student to them. You're handing over your success as a student to them. What you have to learn how to do is change your perception. They are busy and they know that they have students, but sometimes they're just trying to get through their day. And that's more about them and them trying to get through their day than you. Because you said that they're bullying you. They're not bullying you. You're feeling like you're thinking they're bullying you because they don't have time. And so because they're bullying you, you're feeling inadequate. You're feeling, like you're not competent, but that's not really what they're saying. What they're saying is, I'm busy right now. And I would prefer if you guys weren't here so that I can just go about my job. But that has nothing to do with you and who you are. You're making it about you. When it's not about you, it's about them and what they're trying to do. And that's what I'm trying to help you understand. And so you have to change that perception, okay? And you have to change the way that you're thinking. When you can let go of them making you feel incompetent by understanding that it's not that you're asking too many questions. It's that they're trying to get through their day. Do you does everyone understand what it is that I'm saying? Melissa, Melissa, does it make sense what it is that I'm saying? And if it's not making sense, if I'm not helping you in any way, say I'm not helping you so that I can try to understand what it is that you want to get out of this, because I'm trying to give you, okay, Melissa says that makes sense. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, and then Catherine, thank you for putting this in. Catherine said, I think you should talk to your professor to change to a nurse who's actually willing to teach. Not every nurse can make time to actually train you on the floor or be a good preceptor. And Catherine, that's 100% correct. It's important to have a good nurse that you can actually shadow during clinicals. Clinical rotations are a chance giving to students to learn your skills and be able to see what it's like working as a nurse. Okay, Catherine, I absolutely love that you said this, because this comes back to the idea of learned helplessness. So Melissa, in a sense, okay, Melissa, please don't take offense to what I'm about to say. I'm just using you as an example because this is what we have. And I'm not saying that this is exactly what you're thinking and what's going through your mind. And I apologize now if I'm offending you anyway, but I just see this as a good teaching opportunity. So let's pretend, okay? Let's pretend that Melissa is in victim mode. Let's pretend that she's in a state of learned helplessness. In her mind, she's perceiving that she has no way of getting out of this situation, that she's always, right? She's internalizing that it's always going to be this way because she right now is stuck with the preceptor that is not willing to teach her, and it's making her feel incompetent because she's making her feel like she's in the way. Okay, so let's pretend that she feels like, well, this is how it's always going to be. No matter which clinical rotation I'm in, I'm always going to have a preceptor who feels like I'm in the way, and it's going to make me feel incompetent. No matter if I switch to a different clinical group or if I switch to a different preceptor, it's always going to be the same way. That is learned helplessness. That is victim mentality. When you feel like you have no control over your situation, you absolutely do. Step one is to change your perception and to understand that it's not about you. Don't think that people are attacking you. It is always more about them than it is about you. So don't internalize it. Don't make it about you. Don't make it about what it says about you as a person. You're always enough, okay? The fact that you're here living, breathing on this earth tells me that you're enough, okay? So what can you do to change your situation? What can you do to change your situation? And what Catherine said is a perfect solution. You can absolutely go to your professor and say, and not in a whiny, complaining sort of way, like, oh my God, my preceptor was so annoying. She didn't just say, I really have always wanted to be a nurse. And I want to make sure that I get a good experience. I want to make sure that I'm learning the things that I need to learn now so that I can go on and be a great nurse. And I noticed that this one particular nurse, because she's the charge nurse, she has a lot of responsibilities. And sometimes it's hard for her to take the time out to teach us things. And I understand that because this is her job. So I was wondering if maybe the next time you can pair me with someone who maybe has a lighter workload and might have the time to actually take out of their day to explain to me when they're hanging an IV med, and approach it that way. Instead of from the victim mentality, which always comes from negative emotion, which always likes to whine and complain and feel like they don't have any control over their situation. So Catherine, thank you so much for sharing that, because that's absolutely an incredible way to handle this situation. And the only way that you could have come up with that is by stepping out of learned helplessness and into learned optimism. And learned optimism is a part of positive psychology. I'm obsessed with psychology and neuroscience. It's a part of positive psychology that teaches us that we can absolutely change our situation and we can learn solutions And we can learn behaviors that will help us to achieve our goals, and we're not stuck in that victim mentality. So does all of this sort of make sense? Is this helping you, girls? Excuse me, I just burped. Okay, so Courtney says that I guess she had an experience with a preceptor. Hey, Courtney. Courtney and I have been chatting, and we actually found out that our boyfriends went to the same high school together, and that my neighbor is actually her husband's best friend. So it's too funny how small this world is. So Courtney says at the end of her experience, so this is the preceptor, she said that she was stressed and she apologized. And again, it wasn't about her. It had nothing to do with her. But we can do that sometimes. Sometimes we make things about us when it has nothing to do with us, but it's our thoughts about what's happening around us that's causing us to feel that way. And in the case of Melissa, she had a very busy preceptor in her clinical experience who wasn't able to take out the time to teach her. And so the preceptor's behavior was causing Melissa to think that she was a burden and that she couldn't ask questions and that she was an annoyance. And because Melissa was thinking in her mind that she was being annoying, that she was asking too many questions and all of that, she was feeling incompetent and discouraged. And that was affecting her whole clinical experience. She was internalizing her clinical preceptor's maybe bad day or heavy workload day as something about her. And it had nothing to do with her. So what do you do in the situation where, for example, you can't change your preceptor, or you can't change your school, or the professor that's teaching you cardiology, or the professor who just reads the PowerPoint and doesn't really teach? What do you do when you're stuck in those situations? What do you do if you can't control it? Step one is to do what I said. Understand that if you stay in the victim mentality where you feel hope, oh my God, Crystal, I love you. Show initiative. That's really what it's all about. I love that. If you stay in the victim mentality, in this learned helplessness where you perceive that there is nothing that you can do to make the situation different, if you stay in that perception, guess what's going to happen? You're never going to progress. You're never going to feel good in the situation that you're in. You're never going to feel happy, and you're always going to feel like, poor me, my life sucks, blah, 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 blah. And what does that do? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't change anything, right? It just perpetuates the cycle over and over. And who the hell wants to complain all day long? And who the hell wants to feel that way all day long? And who the hell wants to feel like they're hopeless and helpless and that there's nothing? Nobody, right? So take back your power, take back your control, and like Crystal said, show some initiative. Okay, understand that it is not about you. Okay, understand that there is nothing wrong with you. You just have to look at it differently. Come at it from a perspective of show me, teach me. How can I look at this differently? How can I change this? How can I approach this so that this is a situation, a scenario that feels good for me? That is what I want. What can I do? And in the case of a preceptor that you can't change, understand that that is one situation, one scenario, okay? Don't overgeneralize because you don't know every preceptor. You haven't experienced every preceptor. You haven't experienced this preceptor's day every single day for the past year. You don't know if maybe that one day she was just having a crappy day and she was stressed. And how can you approach it? Well, you can, get vulnerable and get truthful and say, I noticed that you're stressed today. And if I'm in your way, I apologize for that. But is there something that I can do for you that will help relieve some of the stress? Do you need to change a dressing? Because I've done that before. And I can help you with that, right? I can call my professor over and do it with her. Or maybe, is there a patient that you need us to turn? I'd be happy to do that. Focus on the things that you have control over. Because that's where the magic is going to happen. That's where the change is going to happen. That's where you're going to grow. Crystal says, I find being one step ahead of the nurse or thinking on your feet actually impresses them, and they can't seem to get angry at you then as their workload has just been. Yes. See, Crystal? Beautiful. That's exactly the type of mindset that you have to have. When someone is in a bad mood, it usually has nothing to do with you. It's, again, their own thoughts about the situation. So that nurse was probably thinking, I'm already overloaded with 7 patients, and now I have to take time out of my day to teach this nurse, which on a normal day when it wasn't busy, I would absolutely love to do this. But today, this is stressing me out. And it's her thoughts that are causing her to feel stress. And because she's stressed, she's acting a certain way towards you. But it's not about you being an incompetent nurse. It's all about her stress, right? Right? So that's what I wanted to talk about today. It's about this idea of learned helplessness and this victim mentality and how to try to get yourself out of it. And the first step is by being aware of your thinking. What are the thoughts that you're having about the situation that are causing you to feel a certain way? And ask yourself, what's really happening here? What are the facts? And what am I making it mean? Right? What am I making it mean that's causing me to feel this way, feel helpless? And what can I do to try to change the situation? That question, what can I do, is so powerful. It's so powerful when you can say to yourself, this is what's happening right now. This is actually happening. And this is what I'm thinking about it. And that thought is making me feel this way. And because of that, I'm acting this way. But what can I do to make it more of what I want? What can I change? What can I control? Those questions are so powerful in your education, especially when you run into situations where maybe you're not getting the support that you want from your professor. Is that professor the only option? Absolutely not. Right? Absolutely not. If the professor didn't teach it the way that you wanted to, you can go to tutoring. You can look up videos. You can, ask a friend. There's so many different solutions. Instead of saying, this professor sucks. She didn't help me. She didn't even tell us anything. She just read the PowerPoints. Okay, those are the facts. That's actually what happened. She did just stand up there and read the PowerPoints. You can't change that. But what can you change? What can you do to get the kind of education that you want? Because you can't change your institution at this moment. You can apply somewhere else if you really wanted to. That's an option too, if you're not getting the support that you want. But right now, this is where you're at. You do have a professor who stands in front of the class and just goes through the PowerPoints and doesn't answer your questions. That's actually happening. But that doesn't have to stay your reality. Okay, you can do things outside of the classroom. You can seek help outside of the classroom. You can purchase something like simplenursing.com, the membership, to get additional help. That doesn't have to be your life if you don't want it to be. If you're willing to step outside of that victim mentality and outside of that learned helplessness. Okay, so that's what I really wanted to share with you girls today. And I hope, and guys, if there were guys on here, I'm sorry if there are. I hope that this was helpful. And I thank you so much again for giving me the time that you did today. And Melissa for allowing me to use you as an example. And for Catherine and Thelma for letting me use you guys and talking about it. And for Crystal as well for giving your input. Thank you so much for engaging with me. And I hope you girls have an amazing Thursday. Bye.